Welcome to Authentic Living with Roxanne, a place where we have conscious conversations about things that really matter in our lives. And now here's your host, Roxanne Derhaj.
So I was born and raised in Guyana, South America. It's a Caribbean country, it's a South American country, and I am of East Indian descent, which means I have heritage in India. And Guyana is one of the only English-speaking country in South America. And so I grew up in a community where everybody's my relatives. You're brought up in a community by all family, and so I've learned several things from that, and I think today it helps me. I think I've been searching back, living now in North America where everybody's pulling their own direction and everybody's to themselves. I think I have my natural tendency is to find that community or create it, and without realizing, I have created that community, and now I do collaborative books. I'm the publisher of the Handbook to Holistic Health, and I'm doing several other books, collaborating with people like Ona Brown, the daughter of Les Brown, who did the foreword for my last book, actually. And I'm also co-authoring with a guy named Brian Tracy. You might know him. He's written 80 books to date, and he's just exceptional. But it wasn't all good for me growing up. I had to learn the hard way. My parents are staunch Christian. I grew up in church, and I grew up in politics. And then I moved to Canada, and I wanted to figure stuff on my own because I'm like, politics, half of the population think they're right, half think they're wrong. Religion, you have segregation also. I'm like, this is so not cool. There must be something bigger. So I start searching for answers and figure out how can we live together in peace, harmony, and unity. And I attended school to become a civil engineer. That didn't quite work because I can't seem to focus on something I don't like doing a subject in school that I know once I come out the door, this is basically useless. So I kind of became an entrepreneur very early by figuring out my own path. But of course, it's not hard. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but the beginning stages are quite difficult. So I did whatever job I could have done. I started working as a laborer in a warehouse, emptying containers, 4,000 boxes a day. I did night shift. I do 3 jobs. I deliver newspaper, whatever I had to do to just keep revenue coming in, although you don't make any money delivering newspapers and people complain. So I did whatever job pays the bill, and then on weekends or evening I take courses to develop myself. How can I be better? And so in the warehouse, and this is where my claim to fame is from my YouTube videos. Every time I was gonna leave a job, I did videos of it to remind myself of, hey, I did this and I'm gone now, rather than just be able to, hey, I used to do that, people wouldn't understand. Actually, I have videos of it. Google my name, you'll see the videos. And I post the videos up on YouTube just because I didn't have enough memory in my phone to store the video. I didn't realize what I was doing. And one day at the warehouse, a guy came in and was like, hey, I know you. I'm like, okay, tall guy, he has this fancy hairstyle, he's Jamaican. I'm like, no, I'd remember you. And he's like, the next day he came back in the world, like, hey man, I watched your YouTube video. That's how I learned how to operate a forklift. I watched your video online, went to the school, passed my exam, and boom, he walks into the warehouse I was still working at, and he met me. And he's like, yeah, he made me check out my own video on YouTube, and that's when I realized there's so many views, and that's when I keep I started posting more and taking it seriously. And then I left the warehousing job. Well, I moved from a laborer to a forklift operator to a truck driver, and then I became a forklift certified instructor, and now I coach. I go into warehouse and do coaching and see if I can help in the supply chain solution, because it's a chain. One bad system or department could ruin the entire profitability of the company. So I do that too. And then when I moved to trucking, because there's more freedom out there and it was more money for hours, the hourly rate was higher. And then I created my own trucking company. I started in construction. Then I did long haul trucking all across the U.S. and Canada, pulling freights for the big automakers and Amazon. And one night I was driving 2-3 in the morning, and I fell asleep at the wheel, and I almost died. I exited the highway. I'm like, what? There's a green light on the highway, and I swore. I just had to yell and say something to wake myself up to I don't know, I was in and out of consciousness, and I drift off the highway. And to tell you the truth, this would happen a lot. And if you're driving on the interstates, on the highway, you will see the trucks wobbling at night, 2-3 in the morning. The drivers are sleeping, and the rumble strip on the side of the lane, that's what wakes us up. Like, you will sleep drive. And because if I don't deliver the load on time, I'll be penalized. So I'll have to, and then there's rules. If you pull over, you have to pull over for 10 hours at a time to sleep. And so
if you pull over, you have to pull over for 10. You can't just pull over for 25, 35 minutes and redirect to get back on.
So the situation is there's a thing called logbooks. So you have, in a 13-hour period of a day, you can only physically drive for 11 of that 13 hours. But from the time you say you're starting to drive, that's your time. You can't change it. If your 13 hours elapse, even if you have an hour more to go, you're not driving that hour. You have to stop right where you are, sleep 10 hours, it's called a reset, and then go again. So at 2 a.m. in the morning, I have to deliver at 8 a.m. And I only have my set hours. If I pull over, an hour nap would be good, and I can go again, but I can't. If I pull over, I'm stuck. I'm not going to be I'm going to be delivering 10, 12, 15 hours later. And so you got to keep going. And it was a lot of money, over $10,000 a week in revenue. I owned the company, I owned the truck, and then I'm like, hey, is this worth my life? I could have been dead so many times over. And even running off, if you run off the highway, you should be fine with the airbags, the seatbelt, whatever. But with a truck pulling 40,000 pounds of load, that will crush you. That will crush you no matter what. So I sold the trucking company, and I got into what I love. And in the transition stage, I met my health and wellness coach, Dr. George Grant, and he's just amazing. When I met him first, and he did a scan for me, being a truck driver, eating junk food for breakfast, lunch, dinner, not sleeping properly, and being fatigued and living on the road, it had a very big toll on my life. So I was stressed without knowing. Even my wife said, we wouldn't have a conversation. We'll be fighting all the time. And so it's just a blessing. It affects everything when the stress level goes up. And being obese and overweight and cholesterol level was so high. And my doctor said at 27, I looked like a 50-year-old internally. And that's what scared me. I could basically die from a heart attack. And what's then I asked myself, what good is $1 million in the bank and I'm dead? Why am I working for this? So then I step back a bit and be like, hey, you know what? I need to relax. I need to stay at home, not live on the road. I lost 30 pounds over the first 3 months working with my health and wellness coach. And he wrote 10 books already. And I always want to write a book. So I'm like, hey, I have a great story. And you're a pro at writing. Let's do a book together. And he's like, great. And we invited some of his colleagues who are professors and some of his students that are PhD students. and we started this book together. It's called The Handbook to Holistic Health, and it'll be launching 6 months later this weekend, this Saturday, October 27th, here in Toronto.
So in the book itself, because I don't have a copy of the book and I haven't read it. What is it that? So it's all healthcare practitioners. Is the focus stress? So what is the focus of the book?
Okay, so it's open. It's Handbook to Holistic Health. So there's 21 different areas. People were speaking about different aspects. So Dr. George Grant, he's a pro, so he kind of did a A to Z principles to living your best life and just tips on health, finances. He touched all across everything because he's so well studied. And a few other co-authors shared on how. I'll just read the overview of the book for your audience, for our audience today. The Handbook to Holistic Health features a lineup of 21 award-winning authors from various health and wellness backgrounds. Yet all of them has one common message to share with you. That is, there is an alternative, natural, holistic solution to your health issues. Most importantly, the authors are all against taking routine prescription medication, both for the obvious side effects and the potential significant financial burden to your entire family. So that's the overview of it, and each of the co-author spoke from their heart of their personal experience, what they have done to overcome that, and what are their tips for you. And point form, easy to follow. Do this and you'll achieve. If I did it, you can do it, kind of thing. And so.
So you learned a lot when you worked with Dr. Grant, right? Like, I mean, here you're 27 years old. I mean, you're on your prime there, right?
Yes.
And in a short, how many years had you been trucking at that point?
Oh, actually, sorry, 28.
28.
Well, between 27 and 28. So I met. Yes.
Young guy, right?
Yeah.
You're a young guy. At that point, your health should be optimal, I would think. Yes. At that point.
Yeah.
What kind of steps did you work with Dr. Grant on your health? Is that why you worked with him at that point?
So he pointed out trouble areas. He does this thing called a biofeedback scan. It's non-invasive. It basically it sends an electromagnetic pulse throughout your body. With less than a minute, it reads. He reads his computer program, and he tells you each aspect. I think it's 37 different part of your body, from your eye to your heart to your kidney, your lungs, every part of your body. It gives a reading, and it's very precise, and it'll tell you where the issues are, if something is very bad, and then he recommend that I start exercising. There's 3 ways to lose weight, and most people try 1 or 2, and they don't do all 3 if you want the best results. And that is, 1 is exercise, which everybody do, but you don't see the result because you have to back it up by eating healthy. Just reducing the fatty food, the salts, the sugar, the crap, the soda, the junk food. Drink more water and eat green vegetable. Raw is good. And something that I found that worked for me, I was eating the same lunch every day. If your body know what to expect, it doesn't excite the body, or you don't get craving, and you keep, because every time you eat something different, it's like, wow, this is so good, I'm gonna go crazy on it. So what worked for me is 5 days in a row, I would stick to a routine. I'll eat oatmeal for breakfast. I'll eat steamed vegetable and baked chicken and or fish for lunch. And dinner, I'll probably eat the same, or I'll mix up the dinner a bit, but not anything too fatty or carbohydrates. Stay away from rice and roti. I'm Caribbean, you're Caribbean,
hard to stay away from roti.
Yeah, it's tough. So now I do the whole wheat roti without any oil or anything of that sort. So it's really healthy. And then on weekends, I let the rip. I'm like, go and eat the most unhealthy thing. Treat yourself, and you will see. I realize, because of the contrast, and I want to tell you, try this. Do the 5 days of discipline and following through. On weekend, go wild, because the first 2-3 days of the week, when you would have reversed the weekend effects, and then you still have 2-3 days of positive effects, and your mental mind knows that, hey, on the weekend I can do. And before you know it, you don't want the fatty food anymore. You eat it and you just feel bloated and can't move. And the third thing, which is one of the main things that I got from George Grant, is recommending great vitamins. There's so many things out there in the pharmacies, and some of the things like Centrum, it's used. You think, oh, I get my multivitamin, great. But the studies with Centrum is the way you put it in is the way it comes out. Your body doesn't use it up. But I don't want to, sorry, I shouldn't even mention any brands, but I shouldn't do that. And so what I found, the products he recommended to me, I used it for 3 months and I saw results. It's 6 months, 5, 6, 7 months now. I'm still using the products, and it's keeping me. And not only does it help me maintain my weight, my energy level, I can eat now and not feel sleepy later. I have a sustained energy level, and that's something that he helped with. And I'm very honored to have him as my health and wellness coach, and I do mention him in the book. He also contributed a chapter, of course, along with 20 other amazing co-authors, inclusive of the daughter of Les Brown, Dr. Ona Brown. And she's not a medical doctor, but she's a PhD, and she got an honorary PhD for her work. And so she contributed on her dad overcoming cancer, actually living with cancer for 20 years, and what they had to do. They did use traditional medicine and holistic medicine in a combination to keep him going, and he's in his best shape ever. He's not best shape ever, but he's traveling the world speaking. And I want to read quickly Ona Brown, Les Brown did a foreword for us, and I want to read that out quickly for you so you have an idea what's coming from him. Here is some of what Les Brown, the world's #1 motivational speaker, has to say about this book in his foreword. I am so happy for the collaboration between my daughter, Ona Brown, and Raymond Harlall. You are going to learn many strategies in this book to heal your body, stay healthy holistically, and how to keep your mind and spirit strong in the process. And that's just one paragraph. Well, of course, he mentioned my name, so I put that on the back. That's one paragraph of 2 or 3 pages that Les wrote. And he said, read my daughter's chapter, which is chapter 1, and you'll hear more about his struggle. So it's just an honor. It's from the heart. Everybody here has personal things that they have overcome in the book. And I want to really encourage your audience, Roxanne, to come out to our event if they're in the Toronto area.
Let's one thing you didn't really mention, but maybe I'm sure it's in the book. You talked a lot about your stress path, and we know that in today's day and age, the stress is it's ever mounting. We know that depression is a #1 concern with the World Health Organization. Anxiety and depression. We see a lot more suicidality on the rise with young people. So there's so many, the pressures. I often say, it's not like with my ancestors, they were in cane fields and they were using their physical. We're out of that stage where it's not that people aren't doing as much physical, but we're obviously using our brain. Like, think of what your day is like or what my day is like, Raymond. We're constantly overtaxing our brain and our emotions and our thoughts, because that's our tools today.
Yeah, especially with social media, technology, living in a big city like Toronto, there's so much going on. And I know I don't like big cities, because when I go to New York City, I just lose it. I love the countryside. I grew up as a kid in the countryside, and I enjoyed seeing the tree. When I see green trees, that's when I'm the most creative. And to answer your question on stress and how our audience can basically get over that, I just did a live Facebook interview. I want you to come over to my Facebook channel, Raymond Harlall. It's open. You go there, and of all the 21 co-author, I have been, for the last 2-3 weeks, I have been interviewing everyone live on Facebook. And just today, just before I came on to this podcast here with Roxanne, I was on with Haley Patry, and she's a young lady, she's a coach, she's a mentor, and she just give out those strategies. So I'm not taking the credit for this, but the first thing she says, we need to get our priorities right. That is, you need to first make a list of what you're doing for yourself. Like today, entrepreneurs, we forget about us, and we work 20-40 hours a day, maybe, if possible, doing multitasking, doing 100 things at the same time. If you're driving and you're talking on the phone, that's you're multitasking. But as entrepreneurs, we do that. We have to do 3-4 things at the same time to make the ends meet. And I think her first thing that she said to do is first put yourself first. Second is your loved one, your husband or your wife or your partner, whatever it is, that person that if you're in a business together, the two of you need to have time for yourself. And she spoke about something so interesting. She had 3 little boys. She says she made individual time for each of the 3 of them every week. She literally said she went to Starbucks 3 times that day because she took one. She and her husband, Jeremy, they took one of the son to Starbucks, bring him back. That was like so powerful. Almost no one do this. We just throw all the kids in the bus and say, okay, here we go. And when they fight, you stop it. You're older, kind of thing. And that was so powerful. So she prioritized herself, then her husband, then her kids. Then she said she looked after money and her income and her business. And I think that's a secret to having a good life, because we have to step back and ask ourselves, why is it that we're doing all this? Because we want to have a happy family life, and that's the whole goal. We all get up every morning and to go work, and that's what makes us happy. And we need to prioritize in a plane when the air hostess or the pilot said, in case of turbulence, make sure you put the mask on yourself first, because you're gonna die. You can't help anyone without it. So same principle, put the mask on yourself first. Put attention on yourself first. Start loving yourself, whatever that means to you. But whatever of it's personal hygiene. Get a haircut, shave, a spa day, whatever it is. We all need this. I do this. You need this. And I think all successful people do that, Roxanne.
Absolutely. And, with burnout and our mental, like you said, if we're constantly on when we're awake, and we are not maximizing the benefit of our potential first, then what's left at the end? You're right. Most entrepreneurs work a lot more sometimes than having a job. Sometimes you start at 8:30, you get home by 6:30, and you're done. And oftentimes, like yourself and myself, there may be other things that you're doing past that time. You may not be in the office, but you're in the office at home, and you're doing a lot of different things. So I think you're so right. And that's why I think there's been a depletion now, because we don't have that start and stop to our days, and our days and our homes. Yes. Days at work and days at home are blending into each other. We're consistently connected. A lot of times with the coaching that I do, a lot of people are not disconnecting, and they're forgetting why they're doing what they're doing. Absolutely, right? Because initially we'll think entrepreneurs want to make more money, but really, like you said, you could have $1 million and you could be, have run off that road that day and be disabled. And what would that be worth to you and your family?
Right on. Yeah, it's very important that we have our priorities right and have a master plan as to what we want to achieve in life and how on the roadmap to get to it. We have to make sure we get to it the right way.
So what I'm curious about, right? With younger people, right? And you're younger, you'll hear a lot of people being very disillusioned. A lot of people coming out of universities and stuff like that. The younger generation are feeling like, gone are the days in my generation. Obviously, you're a different generation than me, where you'd get out and people would, whether they went to university or not, they would get out, they would have that job that would be secure for 30 years. With myself, it was kind of go out, get educated, and you'll have a career. And now in this day and age, there's a lot of really young people that are coming out of, say, university, and not being able to get a job that could kind of sustain a lifestyle to even help them start out. So you're a younger guy, you're out there in the world. What would you say to young people that are just getting started?
That's an amazing question, Roxanne, because that's my true passion, to go into high school. So the book, I'm still working on this book called The Handbook to Financial Freedom by 30. So in this book, I want to share in your 20s what you can, basically I want to share this to kids that are not 20 years old yet, so they can just have a head start on that decade that I had to invest in seeking out the answer, starting doing any kind of jobs, finding out the secret, signing up for network marketing, figuring out what works, what doesn't work, how I can use it, tailor it to the best of my abilities. And what I've learned, well, of course, time has changed. It's not about that secure. There's no more job security, and which is why it's worth your time and effort as a young person to start building you. Especially if you're in high school, you're living with your parents, they're paying all the bills, they're probably paying your phone bill, you have no rent, you have no car insurance, you have no child support, you have no mortgage. And that age in high school, I believe every young child, every high schooler in their senior year should actually get a job. Even if you take an extra year to get out of high school, get a job. That gets you to kind of integrate with real world, because in high school all they teach you is like, do the university course. If you're gonna go to university, it has a U in the letter. If you're gonna college, do the college level, and that's it. But I believe young people need to know what's going on in the world, in the real life, and that's the time. And at grade 12, I had $13,000 in my bank account. I remember a couple of my classmates got into trouble because they kind of went in my backpack and like, oh my God, you have all this money? And the teacher kicked them out of the class or something. And so I think that's one of the time I was most cash wealthy, because in terms of cash flow, I was not paying anything out. I was just whatever. I was working minimum wage, but I was saving all of it. And as an adult, and most of Canada now, we're actually spending more than we're making. And then there's no job security. We're competing against the computers, and AI, artificial intelligence, is even getting worse. And then large corporations are outsourcing, also going to third world countries. So we have to be creative. We have to be creative and create something. As entrepreneurs, you just have to find a solution to a problem that will help people, and put a value to it, and say, hey, you have this problem, I can help you fix it. You're losing 10,000. You pay me 5,000, I'll fix the problem. It's like you're a solution person. You basically finding a solution to a problem, and not only are you finding a solution, it's more cost effective, and that's what it's all about. But you have to do three things at the same time. Actually, you have to have a regular job to pay your bills. You have to also invest in yourself, because that job, you can get fired any day, or the job can be outsourced any day, or replaced by computers any day. And most importantly, you have to do self-development. The best investment you can do or do in the world is in yourself. The more you know, the more powerful you are. We don't know what we don't know. So we need to keep learning, moving up the ladder, and then go after your passion. I see people, their parents force them to be doctors or a lawyer or an accountant. And when they're 40 or 50 or they have retired, that's when they went back to the thing of their childhood dreams. Because when we're in grade school, when we're in kindergarten or of grade 1 or 2, and their teacher's like, what do you want to be? All the little boys want to be firemen, the little girls want to be teachers, nurses. And that's a passion, and sometimes it's suppressed by expectation and what we learn from subliminal messages. And that's something I wrote in this book, how we're being affected by television and billboards and all of that. So it's more very deep stuff that we take in subliminally, and that's messing us up to conform to society and lost our identity kind of thing. So I went a little bit deep there, but so the one thing you want to do is get a regular job to survive in the real world. Any job, it pays money, cash flows, just do it. 2, you want to invest in yourself so you can create your own passion. Whatever, there's always money, and that's something I learned from being a YouTuber. On YouTube, you can find everybody could be a star. You can teach people how to clean the toilet, and you have millions of views. Somebody needs to learn to do everything, or change a light bulb, or change a doorknob, and you'll have a million views over time. If you're the doorknob guy, the people will come to you. And the forklift guy, people come to me, and the warehouse guy, and how to drive a truck and operate an excavator. So I have young guys my age all around the world just saying, hey man, thank you. Just like the story I started with, the guy that came in person, but every day I get random messages from Africa, India, wherever. Not from China, because I don't think they have YouTube or allowed to use YouTube there. But that's a blessing. That keeps me going, because I realize what I'm doing is not for me or my gain. Is the fact that I can help somebody change their life. A total stranger. I just add value in the world. That's my give back. It's like, and then I donate. I now get paid by Google between $350 to $500 every month. And I set aside a fraction of that to sponsor a child in Africa, and his name is how can I forget his name right now? But he's 11 years old. The reason I choose him is because I searched by birthday, and I searched my birthday, and his birthday was the same, and I'm like, you know what? There's no difference. Like, that could have been me. So that keeps me grounded. No matter what I do, the 40 or 50 bucks has to come out of my account and go there. And even if I don't know, I'll never stop it, because it keeps me grounded, and it's me helping somebody else. And there's no difference in the soul. We've all came on the earth, and we can make a difference. We need to first help ourselves so we can help others. And one more thing I want to share in financial freedom is you want to create something that actually that doesn't depreciate. Most young kids want to get a cool gadget or buy a car. Everybody think when I save my money, I want to buy a car. Stop buying cars with your money. As soon as I'm a car salesman, I'm actually opening a dealership to do more wholesale work and train salespeople. So, but a car, everybody wants it. It's nice and shiny. As soon as you drive out the lot, you just paid 13% tax on that, and it's a consumption tax. That disappears. The 13% on top of it. Oh, pay $200 a week, whatever, or 2 weeks. You don't know what you're getting into, especially if you're paying you're paying interest on this loan. Then it depreciates. Then the car wear and tears. Like, you're in a losing battle. Like, your $20,000 car is worth $5,000 in 5-6 years. However, if you can buy a property, which is what rich, wealthy people do, which is what the banks do. The bank invests in property. It's called real estate for a reason. It's real estate. Like, it basically goes up in value. It's an asset, and no matter what, there's population. The world is growing. There's less place to live. So land is of value, and no matter what, if the banks are invested in it, and the banks are to be making money. Some people say, who is the Illuminati, and these guys are so powerful, and the bank is taking... Forget about that stuff. Stop reading all these things on the internet. First, take care of yourself. What's going on in your life? Can you pay your bill? As you get bigger and bigger, then go look for that answer. You can't fight those guys, the bankers, the guys in the oil industry. It's not your business. Stay out of it. First, fix your problem of sustaining yourself and your family, and then actually that should never be your problem, unless you're looking to open a bank or having an oil well. Then those guys are your issue. But you want to have a job. Being an employee is good. Serve, you learn. Change. If you're young, change your job every year or two. You stay in longer than 2 years in your job, you're not going to get a raise, but inflation goes up. So you're getting poorer and poorer every day, if you understand inflation. If you don't, just Google it, look it up. It's on YouTube. You can find that. And create something. YouTube taught me something else too. I did the work. I accidentally got to become a YouTuber, and with all these views, because I told you I just uploaded and let it stay there. But now the check never stopped coming. Every month I got money into my bank account. Do I deserve it? I don't know. I guess so. They're paying me, so I take it. But I do charity work, and in my book I contribute $1 for every book that I publish, and I'm a publisher, to go toward charity also. And just on the Friday before our event, we're going downtown Toronto, giving out socks to the homeless people because it's wintertime, and sharing a meal with them. It's not to brag about, but we're doing it from our heart.
That's amazing story, Raymond. And I think that whole concept about, taking care of yourself first, we teach academics, but do we really teach people to go internally? And I think that's the gift that, in your message I'm hearing, is that do that first. Yes, you're like everybody else. We all had to get jobs and figure it out at first. And if you're in a career track, good for you, and you love something, find your passion. Mm-hmm. And that's the important thing, because you never run out of energy when you're doing what you're passionate about. But
no way.
After a while, you're like, okay. But when it's something for someone else, eventually it catches up with you. And then find that path. There is, like, you're right. Yes, the world is changing, but we are in the best point in the world because anything is possible.
Wow.
That we can create whatever we want. Here you are from, South America. I'm from just above the equator, in little islands with, immigrant parents. Myself, they were from mostly India, like yours, as indentured laborers going to the Caribbean. My grandparents on the one side were cane farmers, illiterate. And on the other side, they were merchants. They were more from the Middle Eastern element. But at the end of the day, they worked hard and then eventually, wanted better. So, the generations kind of got educated, and eventually, I was privileged to be able to I was a foreign student that got sent away to come to school. So
wow.
You're so right. It's the belief, right, to go from that path. When I wrote my book and I talk about my background, that's 2 generations ago that was occurring, and what's possible today. So I think that breeding that whole concept of anything is possible, it really, the biggest asset that we all have is our mindset or our brain. And the more that we work on that, what a gift that we give ourselves, and in turn we give the gift of everybody around us to be able to benefit from all the things that we do daily. So tell them about how they could get tickets for your the Power of Collaboration. That's going to be this Saturday, and it's going to be in Markham. So is there a website, Raymond, that they could go to if people are, I'm going to be there. I am coming to, check out the launch and spend some time with Raymond and his colleagues. Where can they get tickets, and where can they buy the book?
Yes, so the book will be available at our book launch event in Toronto, actually Markham if you're local, and the address is,
I actually have it here, Raymond. It's 7095 Woodbine Avenue, Markham, and it's at the Courtyard Marriott by Hotel, Toronto Northeast.
Right.
It's on the ticket here that I have.
yes.
So I would welcome meeting anybody that's listening, and come out. You're going to meet Dr. Ona Brown. I also was able to speak with Les Brown.
Yes.
In New York in December. Alka Sharma, who I personally know because I met her in New York, and Jim Hetherington is there. Danielle Martini. Martin,
yeah.
James McNeil, and Cora Cristobal, and of course Raymond will be there.
Of course.
Amongst lots of the other people that are in the book. So you're in a place where you're surrounded by people that are into health and wellness. What a gift after all the things that we talked about today. So Raymond, is there anything that you want to say before I let you go?
Yes. So the whole idea is we can't all do everything by ourselves, and everything is not for everyone, but something is for someone. And see whatever your dream, vision, mission, ambition is, whatever, you will know from deep down in your heart, and that's all. You need to set a goal as to what the path that you want your life to take, and just keep your eye on the end result. Just have a good enough reason why. All you got to know is your why, and set that authentic ambition and goal, and it will come to you. The universe will basically conspire and have it come to you. You know why? I'll give you a real life example. If you buy a brand new car today, or whatever car you buy today, you only see those cars on the road forever. You're like, damn, there's another one. Before you bought that car, you never saw those cars before. They were there, but it's just how it works. Is now your senses are turned up to that. Similarly, and this is real, I just prove it to you. Similarly, put your eyes on a goal that you want to achieve, and those similar people, and they will be attracted to you. It's just how it works. You don't have to know about how. You just got to know why, your personal why, and your reason to get there, and you will achieve your goal.
Amazing stuff. Well, you've been very inspiring, young man, and I look forward to spending some time with you on Saturday. And when we think about it, it's not about age here. It's about passion, and I think about, we all have something, and we don't all have to be an entrepreneur, but we could be wanting to be the best parent or the best neighbor or the best community person out there. Whatever your why is, to Raymond's point, just go out there, remember why you're doing what you're doing, focus your time, take care of yourself. That's the important thing when you go after your goals. And to recognize that if you take care of yourself in a way that allows you the health, that eventually you take a step daily, one step in front of the other. That's all it takes. And some days you're going to go, oh boy, I didn't get very far. And then sometimes one step catapults you into a situation where you're like, wow, how did I get here? That's 365 days in a year. And before you know it, you're in a space where you're surrounded by what you want, and always keep dreaming. To Raymond's point, kids dream all the time. We lose it as we grow up, but stay connected to what's important to you. So for anyone wanting more information on me and being authentically connected to yourself in relationships, in reference to your goals or to achievements, you can go to my website, roxannedurhodge.com/blueprint, where you can sign up for a free course. So take care, everyone. Bye, Raymond. Thanks so much.
Thank you for your time, Roxanne. Thank you for listening, guys. Hope to connecting with you soon. All done, Roxanne?
All done.
Excellent. That was amazing.
Well, it's so nice having you.
Thank you. I believe everything happened for a reason. Oops, did I lose you?
Thanks for tuning in to Authentic Living with Roxanne, creating the space for positive, healthy change. Roxanne is a keynote speaker, psychotherapist, and coach. To work with Roxanne, visit roxannedurhodge.com/blueprint. We'll see you next time on Authentic Living with Roxanne.